Awesome. All right. So what we're going to do today, we're going to get started. We're going to start with the statistics side of things. Kind of like I mentioned yesterday, it's Prob stat. So it's kind of broken up into pretty two distinct sides of things, where we look at a probability side of things and then a statistics side of things, really just introductory stuff. Now, at some point, especially in statistics, it might not feel super easy, and because it's all going to be brand new. But we're going to start with pretty easy things this week, and I would even say even part of next week. Sigmund and I have basically the first month and a half set up, ready to go, knowing what we want to do. It's really just about us putting it together. And the thing that I would really highly suggest for you to make your life a lot easier is once a week to stop by and pick up the notes and stuff that I'm going to print out for you. I did that yesterday. I don't know how many people picked up the packet that I left at the desk near security. There's a big table set up where teachers are going to leave stuff for students to pick up, copies of notes and things like that. And so I did that yesterday. If you don't have that, or if you don't need it, that's cool. It's just going to make taking the notes and drawing stuff out way easier, because you don't have to handwrite quite so much. The guided notes have like a lot of the data already preloaded, or a lot of the graphs like really organized with scales, and you don't have to worry about graph paper nearly as much. So so I highly suggest that you do that. If you haven't picked up the notes for today yet, that's okay, but I would suggest coming by today so you have them for tomorrow. And then I will have the notes for next week, hopefully printed, I would hope by tomorrow as well, certainly by Friday. So you can come pick those up. Friday's always a good day to come pick stuff up. Now, I don't know that I'll always be in on Friday, so I might drop it off at the table on Thursdays, if I can get that stuff done. It's a little bit of tough planning for us, because we're not sure how much we can get through. But okay, so on your side of things, what I would like you to do, go to Canvas. Open up, if you don't have it yet, open up Canvas. And if you don't have the notes, right on the announcement for today, if you click on announcements, you click on Wednesday. Obviously, that's where you found the Google Meet link. It should be the same. The Meet link shouldn't change. This URL, this YKV, should be the same every week, but it might change in case I have to mess around with the calendar. So always use the one in the announcement. But right below that, I said, I hope you pick up the notes for this week, blah, 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 blah. And right below that, there's a link. It says Lesson 1A Notes. If you don't have the printout, I would open that up. I would click that, and I would keep that open. And however you want to write this stuff down is up to you. If you have like a notebook dedicated, you could do that. The notes, I think, are going to be a really nice supplement, even could kind of replace actually taking a whole bunch of notes in a notebook to get this stuff done. That's what I want to start with. Okay, so when we start with statistics stuff, we kind of want to start in a way that we did last semester. When we're looking at with data and decisions, we started by looking at like how to understand data, how to visualize it in a way that makes it nice and organized. I know we like did those bar graphs, we did some line graphs. We obviously use Google Sheets to do a lot of that hard work for us. We're going to jump back into Google Sheets either later today, but certainly tomorrow, to help us with the organizing piece of this. But what I'm going to do for us, hopefully you have that that Lesson 1A notes open from the announcement, or just the physical copy in front of you. What I want to do for you guys is share my screen. I'm going to have my PowerPoint open on my screen and just kind of talk through it, which will just be exactly what those notes are going to look like. And we'll just work through it together. What we're going to do in these first couple of weeks is look at different ways to organize these statistics. And when you think about statistics, like for me in my mind, it's like math doesn't mean much on its own. Like, numbers don't mean much unless there's context. And for me, this idea of statistics is looking at like collecting and analyzing that data that we were able to do last semester, but now we want to look at really, really large quantities of these numbers. Way more than I would ever want to write down. Now, we're going to start slow. We're going to start with small amount of numbers, but we're going to start building to really large quantities. This idea of big data and how important that's going to be, and trying to like actually infer something from them, to get an understanding of what a population of people or a group of this or a collection of numbers that have to do with that. Numbers on its own, nothing. Numbers with context, especially about stuff that we care about, you know, whether it's art or music or sports or history or science or space or whatever it is, that's when this stuff actually gets really interesting. So, but we have to start slow. I have to kind of introduce some things to you. So what I'm going to do is on my end, I'm going to open up a PowerPoint and just kind of share my screen with you and talk through it. You should have those notes that are linked in the announcement open, ready to go. Let me open that up on my side and we will be good to go. Okay, so this is lesson 1A. Tomorrow will be lesson 1B, not really lesson 2, because they're really closely related, but we only have so much time. It's just a lot easier to kind of split these two lessons, this one lesson into two. And we're going to look at a different kind of way to organize data that I don't know that you've actually ever seen before, or if you have, it's been quite a long time. So I'm going to present my screen on this side. And stop me, talk to me, ask me questions. This is definitely, hopefully, not a me talking at you kind of thing. I would love to have you be a big part of this. This is, and if you know me, I'm a big believer in that. So these kind of graphs are different than you might have ever seen. These are called stem and leaf plots. Okay. And it's a nice way to kind of organize data in a way that shows something a little bit different. It breaks up the data, and we're talking numerical data only. We're talking about quantitative data, just numbers, right? That might have context, might not. It might just kind of be numbers just to start, but we'll give them some context. So that's what makes it interesting for sure. To show frequency, how often some things are coming up. And the data is organized by place value. Let me just show you what that means. This is kind of what a stem and leaf looks like. That on one side, you have what's called the stem, which is the beginning of some number, okay? The leaf is what happens after that number. And so you see, like with the thing that's up on my screen right now, you see like the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, those are our stems. We've got a 6 as a beginning of a number, the 7 as a beginning of a number, an 8 and a 9. But then after that, what you can see is that like 6 and then 8, there's a key at the bottom to tell us what that means. Oh, that just means 68. And so you have a stem that really just means like the tens place, and the leaf, which is going to be the ones place. And this key at the bottom is huge, because if the stem was 6 and the leaf was 8, but the key was like 6.8, like maybe we were talking about, you know, how long the pencil is that's in your hand right now, or measuring it in inches or something like that, rather than how many minutes you need to drive. A big difference, right? And so when we've got, oh, who wants it? Use your, come on, Eden. Come on, Aiden. It's all good. I'm still sharing, right? Good. All right, let's go back. The idea with a stem and leaf is to break this up in a way that organizes the data so that instead of just listing them 68, 75, 77, 79, 80, 82, 92, 96, 96, 97, we can break it up in terms of place value. And it is way easier to see the stem and leaf here to say, oh, what group has the largest amount of numbers? Oh, the 90s. Really easy. Why? Because this leaf is the longest. Or which number appears most often? Oh, well, the only one that has a duplicate is right here, so it's got to be 96. and trying to find that info from, and I'm going to show you this really quick. This is what you've got on your notes. Trying to answer those kind of questions. Which group of numbers has the most and which number appears most often? Like, look at this group of numbers up here, and there's only 9 numbers there. It's a lot harder for your brain to bounce around a group of numbers that is all over the place. And what I'm trying to do here, as much as I can in this class as possible, is make it easier for you to understand groups of numbers. Statistics is all about large quantities of numbers and trying to get something out of them. Because looking at numbers, staring at them, boring. I want to learn something from them. I want to understand something better. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to back up one slide. Here's how we're going to actually construct this. And you're going to do this by hand. Now, at the end of today, whatever we get done, you're going to upload your work to Canvas. You're going to take a picture of it. You're going to put it on Canvas, and we're going to get a grade for that. Okay. And we're going to do that a lot, especially while we're remote. So I can give you lots of grades in the grade book, because the more grades we have, the less each one is going to count in case you miss one. And in case you don't do quite as well on a project or a test or something like that. The more grades we have, the less each one counts in those categories. Because it's kind of split, like 50% is going to be classwork stuff, 50% tests and projects, things like that. So the more we do, the less it all counts. And so here's our process. To make a group of numbers like this way easier to organize, we're going to do these 4 things, okay? First thing we're going to do is we're going to order the data from least to greatest. Okay, so let's do that part first. So take a look at these numbers and let's put them in order from least to greatest. And I want to hear from you guys. I would love for somebody to, and lots of people, whoever wants to, unmute yourself, give me a shout, let us know what is the smallest number you see in this list.
54.
That's my man right there. There you go, write it down. In that first spot, drop a 54. And what I would do, I don't have the ability to actually cross it out, but if I were you, like put a slash through it, or like put a dot at the top, or put a check mark underneath, or something like that.
We need to print this out right now.
So I printed copies for you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me go grab my book.
It's really day one stuff. So what I was saying, Jimmy, before you got here is I'm always going to make these copies for you guys, so you don't have to print them out. But if you have a printer at home, I would, so that it's a lot easier for you. Or you can just handwrite it for today and then go from there.
Okay.
But yeah, the guided notes are going to make your work way easier because you will have a lot less you have to write down. Okay, cool. Yeah. We got ourselves a 54. All right, next lowest number.
See another 54.
Good, write it down, because we want to have that frequency. So cross that next one out, okay? We don't want to just write one of them. If we've got 2 of them, we want to write 2 of them. Good, next one.
64.
Good. 64, cross that one out, or check mark or dot or whatever you want to do to kind of say, all right, I got that one done. What's the next one?
65.
Nice. Next one.
75.
Nice. Next one.
78.
Nice. Oh, I love hearing different voices as well. Because I can't even see you because I'm projecting the screen. I wish, what should I do? I should have like a separate screen so I can actually see you guys. 3 more. Next one.
82.
And it gets a bunch easier, especially as you cross these out, because now you're not even looking around. Now I know, okay, cool. Next one's 84. Next one's 92. Awesome. And all right, step 1, done. Let me back up a little bit to that last screen so you can see it. So that's what we want to do. And with 9 numbers, it's not so bad. But once we start getting into 15, 20, 30, 50 data points, we don't want to do that quite like that by hand anymore. We'll definitely rely on some technology to help us out. Okay, cool. So next thing we want to do is figure out, all right, how do we want to break these numbers apart based on place value? And look back to the one that we did the first time, right? We had that key at the bottom to tell us what the stem and leaf meant. The 6 on the left, the 8 on the right really meant 68. Do you think that organizing it that way would help? Like, let's group all the 50s together, all the 60s, all the 70s, all the 80s, and all the 90s. I think that could work. right? Organizing it by hundreds doesn't make any sense because we don't have any hundreds. Organizing it by like ones and then decimals, that doesn't do much, right? I think organizing it just like this. So if you want to circle those kind of like I did, you could do that. And then now that we have an idea of what we want, now we can actually go ahead and create the stem and leaf plot in the space that's below. And we've got 5 circles. We've got 5 spaces, which is good, right? Now, you can create whatever stem and leaf you want, but this seems like a really good one for us to start with. All right, I'm going to back up a little bit. Cool. Let's write the leaves next to the stem from least to greatest. And that's what's really nice about organizing them from left to right. Now, when I create my list of my stems, they're already in order. 5 goes first, then 6, then 7, then 8, then 9, all just like that. And all of those numbers are going to be on the left. The numbers that are going to appear on the right, we're just going to put them from least to greatest. But it's not the 5 anymore. For 54, now all I just need, why is there a 2? That's what? Oh, Sigmund, what did you do to me? Let's back. That should be 4-4, not 2-4. Oh, man. She's got its like 7th period, so we get to fix it before her. We're her guinea pigs. She gets the better version. So sorry about that. That should say a 4 right here. Oh, I could probably fix that. Let's back it up. Let's see. That right there should be a, yeah, I want to continue. I want that to be a 4. There we go. My bad. Definitely day 1. Boom, 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 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 4 for that first one. And because there's 2 of them, we put another one. Now, a really important part of this is staying organized, because what made this so easy to see and read is that all of your first numbers were lined up. All of your second numbers are lined up. All the third ones were lined up. And whatever fourth ones, they're all lined up. So it's super easy to tell which stem has the most leaves and which numbers appear the most often. So when I organize that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they are right on top of each other, right next to that line. The 4s are right next to each other with a little space in between. And when I start listing my 60 numbers, like my 64, that 4 goes right underneath. And the 5 for the 65 goes right underneath this 4. So do everything you can to stay organized. Okay, so what number do you think should go underneath this green 4 next to this blue 7 based on the data that we've got so far?
5.
Perfect. And you want to line it up. And right next to that?
You got 8.
Perfect. Okay. 82, 84, 92, just like that. Okay, that's what our stem and leaf is going to look like. And it can be a really useful thing to visualize what you've got. Everything's in order. You don't have to worry about the colors. That was just to make it a little bit more dynamic for you guys to check out. But now I know that the kind of grade that I got the least was in the 90s, because look what we've got. Test scores for 1 student during a semester. And this might be the order that those happened in, right? But this is kind of a better way to get a sense of how that 1 student did throughout the course of the semester. They got an even number of grades in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they really went all out for that 92. Okay. Last thing we want to do whenever we make a stem and leaf is we always want to have a key so that whoever's reading this knows, because basically the data that they're going to see, like when we present this to somebody, it would just be this part. They wouldn't see this. They wouldn't see this. We would just have this stem and leaf, and we want people to know what that means. And so when we make our key, we want it to look like this. And you can pick any data point that you want. It doesn't have to be the first one, doesn't have to be the last one, doesn't have to be the middle one. You can just pick any one of these numbers here, and you show 1 stem with 1 leaf. So you, like for our example, 6 and then a line. And you kind of want to make that line bigger than you would like the number 1. I want it, and this might even be smaller than I would actually handwrite myself. This is just kind of what the font did when we drew it in. I would probably make it pretty tall, like above and below where the 6 and the 4 are. Make it pretty big. And then the 4 next to it. That is, so a little equal sign, that just means 64. Okay, the stem and leaves are all I want to focus on today. Okay, I just want to make sure that we can get a handle on some stem and leaves. In the notes, there's a few examples that we'll go through. We'll do a couple together, and then we'll get out of here. We'll make it quick. Okay, questions about that? So here's our setup. I'm going to back this up one last time. Here's our idea. We want to order them from least to greatest. We want to figure out how we want to do it. Like, what do I want my stem to be? What do I want my leaves to be? Stems on the left, leaves on the right from least to greatest. And then we write a key which explains what the stems and leaves all represent. So we put them from least to greatest, we organize them, we write it out, and there's our key. Cool. Nice. Sweet. So some things that you want to make sure you remember. Neatness is huge, right? We really want to make sure that we're organizing this nicely. Okay, so keep the numbers in line with the columns and the rows. Numbers got to be from smallest to largest to make this work, and choose some stem values that actually make sense, right? Whatever works for you. Cool. All right, so let's go to example A. Again, only like 9 points here. Let's see in this kind of this space here above the stem and leaves. Let's organize these from least to greatest. All right, so take a look. Practice number A. What's your smallest number?
$19.
Perfect. Start with 19 and just go up from there, right? And as you go, and you can just copy mine down because it's there, right? As you go, I would like cross off the 19, cross off a 26, cross off a 26, cross off a 26, and look at how I organized it. They're right underneath one another too. If you've got one line of numbers, put a line of numbers right underneath there, because if you line each one up, then you get to the end and you know you're done and you haven't missed anything. You haven't done a duplicate of something. And that's going to make this a whole bunch easier. Okay, so do that. Give me 1 second. I want to see you guys. This sucks. I'm staring at my screen. I can't see anybody. So this is the worst part about teaching remotely, is I don't actually get to hang out with you guys. All right, cool. All right, so what do you think?
Me and Kylie go get somewhere or nothing.
What do you guys think would be a good spot to create a stem and leaf? What do you think we should do to kind of organize these? Should we do the same thing? Should we go like all the numbers that start with 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s? Would that do it? Oh. All right. Okay. Let's try that again. I'm joining from my other computer because I want to see you guys. Let's see if it works. I don't want the feedback. Yeah, nice, cool. There you guys are. That's way better. Okay, cool. Where is cool? Yeah, I think if we go 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, I think that would work really well. Let's go with that. Let's go with our 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. Those will be our stems, because you've got 2-digit numbers. And the idea is to break it up in a way where it's super easy to tell which one is which. And then let's just organize them from least to greatest. So we only had a 19, so we only need one of those. And then for our 20s, we had 3 different 6s. So we write them all down, and all of them will be lined up. This 9 right underneath this one. We go from there. That looks good. In the 30s, we had a 33 and a 37. So the 3 underneath the 6 and the 9, the 7 underneath the 6, and then for our 40s, we had 2 8s. So line those up, and then a 9. Pretty simple stuff. Nothing super crazy about stem and leaves. It's just one kind of new way to organize stuff, and I just wanted to give you that idea today. And then for our key, let's just pick the first one. Why not? That's always a good one to choose. You can pick any one you want, but 1, 9, that'll be 19. Awesome. All right, how we doing? Pretty good. Give me a thumbs up. Show me something. Show me. Yeah, there they are. I love it. Cool, cool. Pretty easy stuff, okay? I want to do B with you, though, because it is a little bit different. So flip the page or turn yourself to part B, because now our numbers are bigger. And we want to think about how we're going to get these things organized in a way that makes the most sense. Obviously, we'll still order them from least to greatest to start. But when we think about our stem and leaves, like, what do we want to do that is going to work for the data that we've got, right? Because when it's just 2 digits, cool. All right, my first digit is my stem, my second digit is my leaf, and I'm done. Okay. All right, let's get these things ordered from least to greatest. There it is. I'll give it to you. I'm cool with that. Take a second, jot those down. I'm going to talk for a second while you guys are writing this down, because it was funny. I was talking to Sigmund yesterday or 2 days ago about this lesson, and it was late at night when she was putting this together, and she hit me up and she was like, "So take a look at the lesson, see what you think. Does this look good?" I was like, "Yeah, I like this. Different size numbers. You got some 2 digits, some 3 digits. We'll get to some decimals a little later on. What do you think?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is a good stem and leaf. This is a good way to start." She's like, "What do you think about the font?" I was like, "What do you mean? What do you think about the font?" Like, I went through the whole lesson, did the whole thing, like did all the answers, checked it out. Like, yeah, this all looks good. Of course, I missed the 52, but she's like, "Look at the 2s. Look at the number 2s. I was like, "What are you talking about, Sigmund?" She's like, "Look at the 2s. Look how little they are. It's like a little exponent of a 2. And I was like, "Oh man, I didn't even notice that." She's like, "Okay, now look at the 8s and the 6s. Why is that the font? Whoever made this font is crazy. Drive me crazy. Like the 8 way up here, the 6 way up here, these tiny little 2s. I don't know. I got a good laugh from that." She's like, "Do you want to fix it?" I'm like, "Nah, it's all good. We'll just leave it." And I didn't even notice, and I bet you guys didn't even notice way back here, the 6s, the 8s, the 2s are all little. Like the 1 is little and the 9 drops down. I don't know. Funny. All right, so there we go. There's our data organized from least to greatest. What do you think would be a good idea in terms of what our stems should be? Like, do you think we should just put like just the first number, like just the 5? You think that would work?
Could you do like 4, 5, 6, and 7?
So when you talk about 4, 5, 6, and 7, what is the 4? What is the 5? What is the 6? What does the 7 mean? Like, because these stems are supposed to be like the beginning of whatever your numbers are. Do you think it makes sense to just do the first number? I guess that's kind of my question. Would it make sense if our stem was just a 5? Five, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. All of these numbers start with 5s.
What if you put 2 digits in front?
Nice. So instead of just having 1 digit as the stem, because they're all the same starting digit, let's start with 2. Is that what you meant, Jimmy? Like 54, 55, 56, 57. The second number's good. The second numbers are the ones that really kind of break this data up a little bit more. But what we don't want to forget is that this number does have that beginning 5. So even though the starting number, the starting digit for all of these are all a 5, we still want to include that in our stem, but that's not enough to really break up this data in a way that's meaningful, because otherwise we'd have one stem and a bunch of leaves. That doesn't make any sense. I want to be able to break up this data in a way that makes sense. And so if you've got 3-digit numbers, like these, and all of the first digits are the same, then let's do the first 2 digits. Great idea, Kyla. Great idea, Jimmy. I like it. Now we'll just, okay, for my 50, like my 5-4 numbers, my 540 somethings, we had a 543, a 544, and a 547. And so on. For my 550s, I had 552, another 552. Don't forget to put that one second. And again, if you want to like put a little mark above each one as you go so that you know you've done that one, so you're not repeating yourself, you can do that. It's kind of up to you how you want to mark stuff off in your own head. For 560s, we had 565, and that was the only one. And for our 570s, we had 578. Again, small groups of numbers like this, not super hard to organize them from least to greatest. I'm saving us a little bit of time today and kind of helping you see those all get put out there for you. Okay, and then here's our key. Now we've got 2 digits on the left. Again, I would make that line just a little bit longer, top and bottom, so it doesn't look like a 1. We really want to clearly separate the stem from leaf. Good. All right, what I'm going to do, just for time, because I know I wanted to keep things to like 30 minutes. We're kind of around that 30-minute mark. I'm going to skip C for now, just because it's just a kind of a copy of what we've done a lot. Oh, 2-digit numbers, but there's a lot of them here, right? You've got 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and there's a whole bunch of them. So go ahead and skip C for now. I will make this PowerPoint available to you in case you want to jot it down. I want to just do D. I want to do D with you as our one last one, and then you can take a picture of your work and send it in, and we'll call it a day. I think tomorrow's lesson's even a little bit shorter, which is good. The thing that kind of held us back today, number one, was getting here on time. I got to start on time if I want to keep this short for you guys. The other thing that I want to make sure we do, try to log in as often as you can to these Google Meets with your school Gmail. This way I don't have to stop and admit you to class and then go back. So that'll save us a little bit of time. This one's a little bit trickier because we've got some decimals, okay? But trying to get them organized, and again, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help get you organized. I really just wanna talk through what you think might be the best option for stems and leaves here. So you can go ahead and copy those numbers down so you've got them so that it makes sense when you get it in 5.1, 5.2, 5.5, and so on. I'll give you a second to do that. But really just wanna kind of talk about where the stem and leaf you think should be broken up at this point. So take a second, jot those down. Okay, so what do you guys think? Where do you think we should break up these numbers? Like where is where's the stem and leaf get split apart?
Like maybe
Around a decimal.
Say that again, Riley, sorry. Or whoever said that, I couldn't see you guys. I forgot.
right after the decimal.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And Kaylin, absolutely, right? Is that what you were going to say?
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely, right? Because we've got two numbers, you've got two digits, but they're split apart by that decimal. And so if we've got our 5 point whatever, their 6 point whatever, their 7 point whatever, 8s and 9s, that does a really good job in being able to break this apart. Okay, 5.1, 5.2, 5.5, all the way through with our key looking like that. Love it, right? I'm flying through this because I feel like you guys totally get this, and I'm not going to talk down to you guys. I just want to finish that one last one up to make it a little bit more complete for us. Now that we looked at 2-digit numbers, we looked at 3-digit numbers in the hundreds, but now we've looked at these decimals too. And that's the idea. And I think what you might start to see is that all of our leaves, most of the time, and I can't say 100% every time, but our leaves should really, most of the time, just be that 1 digit. Right, that last final digit that makes something different. Some data might not work exactly like that, depending on what we've got. But so far, that's what it seems to kind of be trending towards, is that whatever that last digit is, if that's the thing that makes something different, then let's stick with that. You'll see a little bit tomorrow that, maybe we need to go even deeper. Maybe we've got numbers that are too similar and we need to break these apart even further. You'll see that tomorrow when we talk about split stem and leaves, which will be lesson 1 point or lesson 1B. And that'll wrap up stem and leaves. Remember, this class is a lot of introductory stuff, so we're going to do stuff for a day or two, put a bow on it, call it done, and move on, because we want to there's a lot of really interesting stuff that we can do, and I want to make sure that we can get to that. So I'm good, I'm done, I'm happy. Stem and leaves, day 1, done. All I need from you is to take a picture of what you've got. Please, please, please do this every time though. At the top of the first picture, wherever your notes start, whatever your work starts for the day, just put your name and the date, okay? I want to make sure that we kind of keep stuff organized that way. It really kind of helps me on my end in terms of the grading. And also timing for next year when we teach this class again. I can look back at the work that was done and see how long it took and what worked well for you guys. And I'm always trying to be better. I always want to be a better teacher than I was yesterday. So at the very top, whatever your first picture was, put your name, put today's date, which is January 6th, I think. Yeah, January 6th. And I'm good. We are good to go. Drop that assignment in on Canvas. There should be a spot on, I believe, today's announcement. I'll go back in case you guys need to see that. On today's announcement, clicking through here on my other computer. Yes, it says submit your work for today right here. Assignment lesson 1A. That'll take you right to that spot. I already see somebody's already done it, so we are good to go. 5 points as usual for most assignments. And if you get that done, you start this class with 100, which is awesome. As of right now, the grading scale has gone back to the 90, 80, 70, 60 scale, the 10-point scale. They're not yet looking at, the 88, 76, 64, 52 scale that they had for A, B, C, and D at the end of last semester. They'll probably cross that bridge when they get to it. If an issue comes up, if we have to stay remote or stay hybrid for longer, they'll look at that in like April and May for sure. But there you go. You guys are good to go. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will see you tomorrow. Hopefully a little bit shorter than today. Today was a little bit longer than I wanted to go. But thank you guys for being here. Remember that you have homeroom today after 4th, which will either be with your 5th or your 6th period teacher. So whatever that teacher, whatever that class has for you, hopefully they gave you some way of getting onto that Google Meet for homeroom today. I know that for me on my side, my Canvas, like it's called Seminar on Access, Homeroom, all the same thing, whatever. It still has my old group from like Access if we were starting in person in August. So that hasn't been updated yet. I know my roster on Infinite Campus is updated, but my Canvas one isn't. If you don't have a 5th or a 6th period class, it's your 4th period. If you don't have a 4th, 5th, or 6th, then it's your 7th period, something like that. Okay. So that's good. I'm good. You guys are good to go. Thank you so much for being here today, and I will catch you guys again tomorrow. We're back to a normal schedule, starting class at I think 9:30. Back to our 9:30 schedule. Hopefully, I can get you guys out of here by 10 o'clock, maybe even earlier. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Peace out, bro.
Thanks, man.
See you guys.
See you.
Thank you. Peace out.
Hi, I found the link.
Yeah, Cammy's here. It's all good. So I think I was in the process of responding to you, Cammy. So I recorded on this